On Christmas Eve, New York City Police Department, Detective John McClane arrives in Los Angeles, hoping to reconcile with his estranged wife, Holly, at a party held by her employer, the Nakatomi Corporation. He is driven to Nakatomi Plaza by a limo driver, Argyle, who offers to wait for McClane in the garage. While McClane changes clothes, the tower is seized by German radical Hans Gruber and his heavily armed team, including Carl and Theo. Everyone in the tower is taken hostage except for McClane, who slips away. Gruber is posing as a terrorist to steal the $640 million in untraceable bearer bonds in the building's vault. He murders Executive Joseph Takagi after failing to extract the access code from him, and tasks Theo with breaking into the vault. The terrorists are alerted to McClane's presence and one of them, Tony, is sent after him. McClane kills Tony and takes his weapon and radio, which he uses to contact the skeptical Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, and Sergeant Al Powell is sent to investigate. Meanwhile, McClane kills more terrorists and recovers their bag of C4 and detonators. Having found nothing amiss, Powell is about to leave until McClane drops a terrorist's corpse onto his car. After Powell calls for backup, a SWAT team attempts to storm the building but is assaulted by the terrorists. McClane throws some C4 down an elevator shaft, causing an explosion that kills some of the terrorists and ends the assault. Holly's co-worker Harry Ellis attempts to negotiate on Gruber's behalf, but when McClane refuses to surrender, Gruber kills Ellis. While checking the explosives on the roof, Gruber encounters McClane and pretends to be an escaped hostage. McClane gives Gruber a gun. Gruber attempts to shoot McClane but finds the weapon is unloaded, and is saved only by the intervention of other terrorists. McClane escapes but is injured by shattered glass and loses the detonators. Outside, FBI agents take control. They order the power to be shut off which, as Gruber had anticipated, disables the final vault lock so his team can collect the bonds. The FBI agrees to Gruber's demand for a helicopter, intending to send gunship helicopters to eliminate the group. McClane realizes Gruber plans to blow the roof to kill the hostages and fake his team's deaths. Carl, enraged by the death of his brother Tony, attacks McClane and is apparently killed. Gruber sees a news report by Richard Thornburg on McClane's children and deduces that he is Holly's husband. The hostages are taken to the roof while Gruber keeps Holly with him. McClane drives the hostages from the roof just before Gruber detonates it and destroys the approaching FBI helicopters. Meanwhile, Theo retrieves a van from the parking garage but is neutralized by Argyle, who has been following events on his car radio. A weary and battered McClane finds Holly with Gruber and his remaining henchmen. McClane surrenders to Gruber and is about to be shot, but grabs his concealed service pistol taped to his back and uses his last 2 bullets to wound Gruber and kill his accomplice. Gruber crashes through a window but grabs onto Holly's wristwatch and makes a last-ditch attempt to kill the pair before McClane unclasps the watch and Gruber falls to his death. Outside, Carl ambushes McClane and Holly but is killed by Powell. Holly punches Thornburg when he attempts to interview McClane before Argyle crashes through the parking garage door in the limo and drives McClane and Holly away together. Die Hard is a 1988 American action film directed by John McTiernan and written by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza. It is based on the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe, and it stars Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, Alexander Godunov, and Bonnie Bedelia. Die Hard follows New York City Police Detective John McClane, Willis, who is caught up in a terrorist takeover of a Los Angeles skyscraper while visiting his estranged wife. Reginald Vell Johnson, William Atherton, Paul Gleason, and Hart Bochner feature in supporting roles. Stewart was hired by 20th Century Fox to adapt Thorpe's novel into a screenplay in 1987. His finished draft was greenlit immediately by Fox, who were eager for a summer blockbuster the following year. The role of McClane was turned down by a host of the decade's most popular actors, including Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Known mainly for work on television, Willis was paid $5 million for his involvement, placing him among Hollywood's highest-paid actors. The deal was seen as a poor investment by industry professionals and attracted significant controversy before its release. Filming took place between November 1987 and March 1988, on a $25 million to $35 million budget and almost entirely on location in and around Fox Plaza in Los Angeles. Expectations for Die Hard were low. Some marketing efforts omitted Willis's image, ostensibly because the marketing team determined that the setting was as important as McClane. Upon its release in July 1988, initial reviews were mixed. Criticism was focused on its violence, plot, and Willis's performance, while McTiernan's direction and Rickman's charismatic portrayal of the villain Hans Gruber were praised. Defying predictions, Die Hard grossed approximately $140 million, becoming the year's 10th highest-grossing film and the highest-grossing action film. Receiving 4 Academy Award nominations, it elevated Willis to leading man status and made Rickman a celebrity. Die Hard has been critically re-evaluated and is now considered one of the greatest action films, and is also often named one of the best Christmas films. It revitalized the action genre, largely due to its depiction of McClane as a vulnerable and fallible protagonist, in contrast to the muscle-bound and invincible heroes of other films of the period. Retrospective commentators also identified and analyzed its thematic concerns, including vengeance, masculinity, gender roles, and American anxieties over foreign influences. The film produced a host of imitators. The term Die Hard became a shorthand for plots featuring overwhelming odds in a restricted environment, such as Die Hard on a Bus. It created a franchise comprising the sequels Die Hard 2, 1990, Die Hard with a Vengeance, 1995, Live Free or Die Hard, 2007, and A Good Day to Die Hard, 2013, plus video games, comics, and other merchandise. Deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant by the United States Library of Congress, Die Hard was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry in 2017.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay.